These are difficult times. Economic crisis, political scandals and public disillusionment. Almost 1 million people in Britain voting for the neo-Nazi BNP. Where might we look for hope, for signs of political and social renewal? Most people today wouldn't start by looking to the church. It's often perceived as an institution in terminal decline, of little relevance to the cut and thrust of politics and economics. And yet it is from the church, in alliance with other religious and civic groups, that we see a new and dynamic movement for social change. Citizen organising, the movement that trained Barack Obama, brings people together in the inner cities to build their power and to act for social change. In London, the Alliance has already won over £25 million for low-paid workers, secured the world's first living wage Olympics, and now it is holding politicians to account on the impact of the credit crunch on Britain's poorest neighbourhoods.
The Contextual Theology Centre was founded in 2005 to support Christians working in community organising. With staff and tutors from a wide range of churches and traditions, we aim to speak out faithfully on issues of social justice and, where we can, to work with colleagues from other faiths.
I'm standing outside the East London Mosque and the London Muslim Centre here in Whitechapel, where today inside this building there's going to be different churches, mosques, universities, unions and schools gathering as part of London Citizens and Telco, the East London Communities organisation, to talk about the issues that affect their community and their borough. Community organising has been fantastic for this local borough because of all of the different benefits it brings when churches, mosques, schools, universities and neighbours work with each other on issues of common good. We've managed to win things like the living wage in the local council and safer streets for this community through the power of organising, through collective action, building a greater power and a greater alliance to effect change in this borough.
The Jellicoe Community is a project of the Contextual Theology Centre, which enables students to live in inner city parishes and to work with them for social change. Last summer, over a dozen Oxford students worked as Jellicoe interns in East London.
Yeah, so I think that internship provides a brilliant opportunity for me to go into London and see how community organising works and actually having an impact on communities and people within like the inner city areas. I think for myself as well, being able to go to the Jellicoe seminars, which are going to tie into the degree that I'm studying, and will hopefully give me inspiration for like my dissertation and any future work that I want to do as well.
This internship programme has now spread across the university, but it was here at Magdalen that it began in 2006. The Jellicoe Society was founded to provide a link between students here and community organising in East London, and the work has now grown until last summer when there were over a dozen interns. So why the Jellicoe Society and Jellicoe Community? Well, this is the 75th anniversary of the death of Basil Jellicoe, the priest and social reformer who inspired this new movement of Christian prayer and action.
Father Basil Jellicoe was one of those people who the Church of England's been so good at cultivating. An upper-class eccentric, well-connected, went to Magdalen College and then to the Magdalen College settlement in the slums of London, in Somers Town. And there he brought his love of Christ, but also his love of beauty and justice and dignity. He wanted to bring dignity to people. That's what he brought with his slum housing. And I think one of the lovely touches about the housing he created was that it was full of little beautiful details. Some of them were recently on show at an exhibition in the British Library. At the middle of this was a sense of justice, that Christianity was about justice. He regarded the slums of Summertown as a gigantic theft from the poor, and all the time that mixture of Christian action and justice was at the heart of what he wanted to do.
As with so often in the Christian story, it doesn't end there. Jellicoe's legacy lives on in the work of the Contextual Theology Centre. Though the privileged world into which Jellicoe was born is a thing of the past, social injustice remains. The figure of Jellicoe continues to inspire young men and women like myself to live out their Christian faith by creating sustainable means of dealing with social issues that work with and not for our local communities.
The Jellicoe community is now international, with students from the University of Notre Dame joining those from the universities of Oxford and East London. As well as our summer internships, we now have a year-round programme based at the Contextual Theology Centre in Limehouse.
community organizing has been a real help to our congregation at St. Martin's and the Parish of Divine Compassion, and it has widened its vision. The East London community organizations and interns have been a real encouragement to us.
It's been really, really good to welcome the Jellicoe interns into our community here in Stepney, and it's interesting to see the change in them whilst they spent time here over a month, over 6 months, over a year, and our congregation has really loved having them around as they've helped to work with us to change our community.
I wasn't raised to be religious, and I'm still not religious, but organising has changed my view of faith and faith institutions and the role that they can play in public life. Through my work with London Citizens, I have engaged with men and women on a whole variety of issues from many different faiths, and I've learned from London Citizens that faith institutions are an essential part of the fabric that really holds a place together, and they form the backbone of the organising that we do.
I think getting people involved in community organizing can be very challenging, but when you see the reward and the enjoyment people gain from it, you realize it's very rewarding.
In terms of the changes we saw in the community during the short time we were working in East London, I think we saw something that lots of community organisers expect, which is no short-term, drastic, fundamental changes in the community overnight, but a much more long-term, gradual process. Particularly with the young people we worked with in the City Safe campaign in Whitechapel, we start to see a change in the way that they understand themselves within the community, and the way the community should work, and indeed wider society, and that in itself is a great achievement.
The Jellicoe internship provides you with very clear and beneficial impacts upon your academic studies. Doing the Jellicoe internship means that you can study the practical application of key academic concepts, particularly those in areas of political sociology, but also in wider academic areas, especially in history, where it really gives you an opportunity to study the development of political society in a new and exciting way.
The student union here in Oxford is called AUSU. It's Oxford University Students' Union. Now, a lot of people here at the university feel very apathetic towards their student union. They feel disconnected, that it doesn't mean anything to them. Now, we can solve these problems through community organising. We can use the tools that community organising has to teach us to really reinvigorate student politics in the city. Now, it's not about how many posters you put up, it's not about how many emails you send out, or how loud you can shout in a meeting. It's about building relationships. It's about sitting down one-on-one with students, talking to them, finding out what interests them. This way we can increase voter turnout, we can allow students to really buy in to their representative body and really make it sustainable for the future.